Okay, today we're going to look at the modeling systems regents questions, and we're going to go over number 2. I'd like you to practice the 3 read strategy. The first strategy, or the first step, is to just read through the problem. Put your pencil down, just read it, and think about what is the problem about. Okay, so the problem is about friends going to a restaurant and they're ordering pizzas and sodas. Now, the second time you read through the problem, what you want to try to do is look at what's some of the important information that I'm going to need. What's some of the math that's going to help us solve the problem. So as I go through, I see, I think I need to get my marker back. 1 plain pizza and 2 sodas totals $15.95. And then 3 plain pizzas, and each person has 1 soda. And if I go back, I notice it was 5 friends that went the second time. So that's going to be 5 sodas, and that totals $45.90. So the second read, you want to underline some things, pull out the important information, and now we're going to set a plan to solve this problem. So it says to write and solve a system of equations. So let's start there with trying to write some equations. Okay, so first we're going to start with our variables. All right, I like to use X and Y because then it's easier to just put it in your calculator, but it's okay if you want to use letters that relate to the problem. So what do you think the X and the Y could be? Okay, so the 2 things that they're buying are pizza and soda, so that's what our variables are going to be. Oops, I forgot to switch it back. Cost of pizza and cost, wow, my writing is not the best right now, cost of soda. Okay, so those are what our 2 variables are going to be, and now we're going to go back to those sentences. So first we said 1 pizza, so that's going to be 1x, or just x, and 2 sodas plus 2 sodas is going to be 2y, has to equal $15.95. Okay, so that's the first equation. The second equation comes from what we underlined in green. 3 pizzas would be 3x, and it said each person had 1 soda, and there were 5 friends, good, plus 5y equals $45.90, good. Okay, now in order for us to solve this system using our calculator, we have to have the equations solved for y. So right now you can pause this and solve the equations for y. Okay, so now you can check your work, and for us to solve the blue equation for y, we first have to get this y term by itself. So we're going to subtract the 1x over to the other side. Okay, now remember, when subtracting, you can only combine terms when they're like terms. In this case, we have an x on the 1, but there's no x here on the $15.95. So those are not like terms. So what we're going to do is we're just going to write it out, $15.95 minus 1x. We can't combine those terms because they're not like terms. All right, now the y is being multiplied by 2, so the opposite is going to be to divide by 2. Okay, and I'm going to recommend that you just leave this as a fraction. We don't have to do that simplifying work because we can put fractions into our calculator. All right, let's do the same thing on the second one. First thing, to get the y term by itself, we have to get rid of the 3x. So we're going to subtract 3x from both sides. Bring down the 5y, and again, they're not like terms. Don't subtract it, just write it out. 45.90 minus 3x. And then the last step is to divide by 5. And we're going to leave that also as a fraction. Okay? And now pause the video here and you can go put these two equations into your calculator. Okay, so I put the first one in and then I thought I should talk about how to put this equation into the calculator. So remember, to get a fraction, you have to press alpha y equals enter, and then you get your little fraction bar, and I'm going to put the second one in, 45.90 minus 3x, all divided by 5. Okay, so take a minute and make sure that you have both of those equations in the calculator before you continue. Okay, so now we're going to try to find the solution. One strategy to find the solution is to look at the table. Okay, and if you scroll through the table a little bit, you're looking for y1 and y2 to have the same value, but we're not going to find that because the answer or the x value represents the cost of a pizza, and the cost happens to be a decimal. Okay, so when our answers are decimals, we can also use the graphing strategy. And if we press graph, we're going to wait a minute here to take a look at what the graph looks like. Remember, the solution is where the two lines intersect or touch. Okay, and you'll notice right here that we get close to the point where they cross, but we can't quite see it. So before you start to try to calculate the intersect, we have to do a zoom out. So to zoom out, you press this zoom button right here, and then you go to choice 3, which is zoom out. When you get back to your normal screen, you see the little thing blinking in the center, and you just have to press enter. So now what it's doing is it's making the window bigger, so hopefully we can see the point where they cross. And as you can see right there, the red line starts above and now it's below. So it crosses somewhere in here. So to find the point of intersection now, we press second trace. We want to go to 5, intersect, and then we press enter 3 times in a row. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and this gives us our answer. I'm trying to go a little bit faster here because my video is getting long. So we would say X was the cost of a pizza. My calculator went away. I want that to stay up. See how it says here X equals 12.05? And then it says Y equals, let me go back real quick. Y equals 1.95. Okay, now if I put this back on the problem, we'll get the calculator to go away. For this situation, then, you want to make sure that you say what the answer is. So X was a pizza. So you could say pizza is 12. Pretend that's just one decimal point. 12.05. And a soda is 1.95. And those numbers do make sense for the cost of pizza and soda.